particular segment has to do now with not just why the family of parishes, but how. How are we going to enact this with 7 different parishes in a way that's going to work? Well, when I was first asked by our 2 bishops to head up this family of parishes as the pastor, I started to collaborate with some of the business people in our community as far as what would work just as a business model. I also read some of the leadership manuals and books that were written by secular leaders, and also a very influential book written by a priest who also had read all of these business manuals from some of the leaders in the secular culture. The name of the book is Divine Renovation Beyond the Parish by Father James Mallon. He was dealing with a situation out east in Nova Scotia, but he suggested a kind of model that would enact co-responsible ministry, and those particular teams would be in their own right, but also the leaders of the teams would be sitting on a core leadership team which would make decisions or at least advise the pastor. So what we decided to do is I've asked a number of these business leaders in Sarnia to read the book and suggest what they thought. They liked the book, and so we commissioned a kind of governance advisory team of these lay leaders who had business experience, plus some priests, Father Dan and myself. And over probably a year, we were praying and collaborating, what's the best way to enact our family of parishes? And we came up with this model called co-responsible ministry teams. Now, part of that was to say, well, what's really the needs of the community? Because we didn't want to just say, well, we know what's best for the community, we the clergy. Rather, we wanted to know what your needs were, what your feelings were about parishes and parish ministry. So we had a very detailed, and you remember this, questionnaire in the beginning, actually around November of last year. And the 31 questions elicited over 1,000 responses from our parishioners. And from that, we collaborated together and brought the highest needs and wants and desires of the community. The first and foremost, of course, was youth and family ministry. So with that information, and at the same time, Pope Francis was asking all the dioceses throughout the world to hold these synods, so we also did that questionnaire. And then we combined the 2 questionnaires into focus groups where people could go to a kind of town hall meeting in each of the parishes and voice their viewpoints on these questions. And from that information, we then had our 3 strategic planning days. That's how we are framing this whole family of parishes. And in the future, when we have more of these YouTube videos, we're actually going to interview some of the leaders of these teams. So what are these teams? Well, I'll give you a few. Liturgy team, youth and family team. We have our lay ecclesial ministry team, our communication team, social justice, social outreach, and the leaders, which are mostly the lay people, sit with the priests on this core leadership team, and that's how decisions are made in a really collaborative way, co-responsible. So that gives you a kind of feeling for where we are right now. And again, keep us in your prayers as we continue to focus on mission and bringing the good news to our community. Again, for now, it's Father Brian Jane. Please join us again for the next installment of our famous News from the Family Pews.